to The Challenges of Change, the podcast where we explore the transformative journey towards self-improvement and personal growth. I'm your host, Laura, a mindset coach in the health and fitness industry, here to guide you through the hurdles that life throws at you. In each episode, we'll delve into practical strategies and insightful discussions to help you manage stress, regulate your emotions, upgrade your mindset, and ultimately reclaim your sense of worth. I'm thrilled to have you join me on this journey of change, challenges, and self-discovery. Are you aware of the invisible scripts that are secretly running your life? Unsure? Consider these questions. Do you hear a lot of shoulds in your head? Do you feel like there's a way things are supposed to be? Do you feel the need to predict how things will go before ever even allowing yourself to experience them? If there's even a kind of in there, or a hell yes for sure, then you definitely have invisible scripts running you and likely holding you back. The truth is, we all do. It's an unconscious component of our brain in how we make decisions and navigate the world. But the challenge with them is we don't know what they are. Most of us aren't even aware that they exist. And they perpetuate the same problems, the exact problems that we want to change. And that is why we're here. Welcome back to the Challenges of Change, where today we are going to be discussing the challenge of the invisible scripts. How do you recognize your invisible scripts? We're going to cover that. Why is it important to understand what your invisible scripts are? We're going to touch on that. And what role do the invisible scripts that run our lives play in change and helping us feel satisfied with the life fulfillment we crave? We are definitely going to touch on that. And the truth is, I hear this all day long. I mean, we're so unconscious to it and it is so regular that it's no one's fault. It's a human feature, but it is the main thing that I get people to challenge, the invisible assumptions, the interpretations on what to do without ever even understanding the system that's at play. I mean, just today, I had a client telling me how he's trying to be ahead of his emotions. How can you be ahead of them? I asked. You don't even know what they'll be until they're happening in the moment. So what even is ahead? It's predicting. But why? He's like, because if I'm prepared, then it's easier. I'm like, easier how? Because then I know what to expect. And I'm like, well, you know what to expect because you're predicting them. So you're literally creating them ahead of time so you can have a degree of control. What if the very notion of anticipating is what's giving you that experience, but you don't want that experience? So what would happen if you didn't try to get ahead of them, but rather try to get behind them? What do you even mean? He said. So behind them is to understand what they're actually trying to signal. For instance, when I was a personal trainer, which I still technically am, but when I just did personal training, I left my work at the gym. And now when things are really intense or really busy, I'll notice that my brain wonders about personal training, wonders if I should go back to that. I know I wasn't completely satisfied with it. I was craving what I do now, but I have the wisdom to go behind the thought and wonder, what is my brain trying to tell me in this instance? And it's telling me it wants relief. It wants a break. And that's how it tells me that. That's the association. And that's what all of our brains do. He is assuming that if he could just be ahead of his emotions, that the assumption is the solution is to be ahead of them and predict them, then he would better be able to regulate himself. Yet he has no actual evidence of that. Or another client I spoke to today. I asked her to do yoga nidra, which is a common thing I have my clients doing, and she tried her best, but despite best efforts, she continued to encounter extreme resistance. How do you know it's resistance? I don't know, it's just different. So notice that we're calling different resistance, which implies two different things. Different than what? Your baseline? I asked. She goes, I guess. I was like, so what's the difference? So like you know your baseline and then you experience something that's a deviation from that, but how do you explain the difference? I don't know. I guess I just get fuzzy and unclear. Like, is that bad? Obviously, she said, another assumption. So I don't know if I agree with that. If it, from everything you've told me, it sounds like it's not bad, that it's telling you something. Like, we already know you have a challenge resting and relaxing. Maybe this resistance or this difference is telling you that this form of rest is too much and you need to redirect to a different level of rest, maybe more of a chill zone versus a rest zone. And the moment I said that, her body language lightened. Chill. I can do chill. That's a vibe. I can do a vibe. I can vibe with chill. But she would have never realized that had she not even recognized that one, she was labeling this difference as resistance when really it's just a difference. And two, that she's assuming the difference is bad. We're not always supposed to be able to get ourselves to do the thing. There's a system at play in our body. Our job is to work with the system, not try to control the system. That is what society tells us to do, is control it, and that is what keeps us stuck. We don't know what actually runs us. We're very unconscious to the assumptions, the interpretations, the associations we have, and the expectations. I mean, most people figure out their expectations after they already feel disappointed. Why? Because we're just so quick to jump to solutions because we're trying to outrun our own shit. And we can't. It just keeps cycling until we face it. Not till we get ahead of it, but till we get behind it to understand it. Think about it for a second. What is the difference between judgment, assessment, and evaluation? Not the dictionary definition, but the human understood difference. There isn't one set answer to that, but I've asked a lot of people this question because I have an aversion to judgment because in my felt experience, my human understanding of it, it comes with a negativity, uh, appraisal of less than. Whereas assessment and evaluation are much more top shelf, data driven. Judgment carries more emotional load with an assumption of how things are supposed to be. So I have an association and a definition that judgment carries a negativity to it. And I'm sure you do too. No one really likes being judged, yet we judge other people. We're not going to touch on that one today, but well, we touched. We're not going to touch further. So how do we start to recognize these scripts? I mean, the simplest answer is we have to like listen and slow down, but our brain is telling us a story and we're just blindly believing the story. It's like a kid is telling us what their imaginary friend did that day, and we're like, yeah, that's totally true. We don't believe a kid most of the time when they give us their imaginary story, but yet when our brain tells us some bullshit, we're like, yes, that is 100% what's happening without any fact checking. People don't tell us this growing up, but once you become an adult, like you are the one who's responsible for your own brain. You are the leader of your own mind. And if you are not fact checking your imagination friends, I don't know how factual you're being. I don't know if you're being the best leader. And that might explain some of the distress and the anxiety that you're experiencing. We have to notice the story. And when you're noticing, look at the conclusions your brain is drawing. Even if you're like, yeah, that makes sense. It's not about sense. It's about why is it jumping to the conclusion before it understands the system. That is the whole point. Where am I making an assumption that it's bad, wrong? Where am I having an association that it shouldn't be this way, or it couldn't be this way, or it being this way means something's off? We're constantly categorizing, but we don't recognize how we're categorizing. Get to know your categories. Slow down, notice your story, see the solutions your brain is jumping to, get curious about them, and see the categories. That's the first step of noticing your scripts. And some of your categories will be right. You'll be like, yeah, I totally stand for that. Cool, keep moving. Those are the easy ones. But I guarantee you, you are going to find some scripts in there that don't make sense. So, why is this important? Why spend any of your very limited time and energy trying to catch your scripts? Well, because more often than not, it's our unconscious, invisible scripts that are causing the own suffering. Like we are being our own dictator, creating the own bullshit we don't want, but yet we complain like it's something outside of ourselves and we don't have agency. It takes away our control. That's the biggest problem. So many people talk to me about wanting change, but they struggle to realize their role in the ability to change, not because we can't, we're not putting forth enough effort, but because we don't understand the system that's at play. Like I can't emphasize enough like the value and importance of awareness because in reality, the awareness of the scripts is the first opportunity to create change. You cannot create any type of change if you are not aware. Think about if you want to lose weight, but you have a sweets craving late at night, which is super, super common for so many people. If you aren't aware of the fact that you're craving sweets at night, you're not gonna see results. If you can't be curious about why you're craving sweets at night and why night and not at the afternoon, what other factors in your day-to-day life are influencing that? You're not actually going to be creating change because there's a system at play that makes you crave sweets. Like one of the biggest things is people run themselves so hard during the day, they deplete all their stores and they use their dessert as a reward for working hard. And then you create a chemical addiction in your body that your body wants sugar. I get it. I do it sometimes. And then I have to break the cycle. But I do it through awareness, awareness of the scripts because it gives you an option to choose. Whether you choose the same thing or not, it's not about shame. It's about an opportunity for you to say, yes, I do want this change, or no, that's not what I want right now. Being the leader of your own mind, it's a discipline. It's not always doing what you want. It's not always giving yourself everything you crave. It's not always giving in to your brain. Your brain is going to want to move fast. Your brain is going to want to jump to conclusions. But what we want is incongruent with what the other things we say we want. We want to lose weight, but we want sugar. I get both of those things, but which one do you actually want more? I want to have both. Okay. Have you gotten any results trying to get both? No? Okay. That's probably pretty telling. You want a new job, but you're afraid that if you get a new job that you're going to fall into the same exact toxic situation. So you don't put yourself out there, ultimately perpetuating the same problem that you're already in. We have to choose what we actually want. We don't get our cake and eat it too. We have to choose which one we actually favor and understand that choosing something different than our comforted norm is going to be uncomfortable. We have to see the system of change. But how are we supposed to see any of that if we aren't looking at the scripts, if we aren't seeing the assumptions and the expectations? Even the assumption that you can eat sugar and lose weight, but yet you haven't had any results. That you should be ahead of your emotions, but yet you're actually predicting your emotions, perpetuating that same thing. Like we don't realize how much our instincts of trying to protect ourselves because we don't trust ourselves is actually creating the thing we don't want. And then we're stubborn and we want what we want when we want it. Samesies. But that doesn't mean we have to be ignorant to the reality that it doesn't work like that. Like you realize you can't get a new job if you don't ask for a new job or apply for a new job or let anyone know you want a new job, right? You can't get fit if you don't eat healthier, take some type of medication like Ozempic or work out. Like these are, it requires an investment, an energetic investment. And the scripts that are running are already playing an energetic investment away from what you actually want. And because we don't see them, we look at ourselves as a problem. I don't have enough willpower. I'm not disciplined enough. I'm not trying hard enough. I'm lazy. It's all bullshit. It's just the story your brain's assuming. Go before the thought. Be curious. Try to understand. Jumping towards a solution is jumping to escape yourself. But the moment you realize you can't actually escape yourself, you can maybe escape the moment, but then the moment perpetuates the same pain. You have to be really uncomfortably honest with yourself and realize I'm the only one who can change this, and I'm the one who's choosing this when it's not changing. And I'm not saying that from a lighthearted place. I've had to have very hard conversations with myself where I felt like I was a victim. And I realized I was still sticking in those situations. I did have a degree of responsibility. And as soon as I saw that, I had the freedom to actually make a different choice. That's the whole fucking point. I actually don't care what you choose. It is your life to enjoy or fuck up your way. That's fucking freedom. I just care that you're choosing because pretending like life is happening to you and not realizing that you are the one creating it because you're unconscious to your own scripts, it's deflating and it's not how we want to live. So this is my challenge to you. Get to know your baseline. How do you experience your day to day, your commute, your day to day meetings? Like there's a range. It's not like a set point, but there's a range of like, oh yeah, I normally get irritated in these meetings, or I normally get frustrated around this rush hour, whatever it might be. Know your baseline so you can recognize deviations. Deviations from your baseline is an opportunity to capture awareness. And within that, look for the scripts. What am I assuming to be true here? What am I assuming to be false here? Why am I disappointed? Do I have a predetermined preference or attachment on how I want things to go and why? What am I believing? If they go that way, what do I think is going to happen? And what am I inferring from what has been said? That's a huge one. Inferences? What are the actual facts? We try and pride ourselves on being so intelligent, but if you aren't being emotionally intelligent, I guarantee you you're not being intelligent because you don't understand how the brains work. Ask yourself what other possibilities exist. What am I not seeing? The wisest leaders, they aren't negligent to the human condition. They're respectful of it and understand they don't see everything. They can't know everything. So they surround themselves with people who they can trust and they are open to seeing what they can't see. Whether you're a leader at work, in your home, or just in yourself, it's the same thing. We are our own champions of change. Nothing can change without our own buy-in. And it's okay if you don't want to change, but maybe you need to stop lying to yourself and saying, I do want to change when you're just not ready to give up whatever the thing is that would be required to give up. That's okay. But the more you pretend you don't have agency, the more you actually sabotage your self-worth. Which is why I invite you to come and join us in the Challenger Circle. It is where we unearth the scripts. It's where you stop white knuckling your way, pushing through, and actually gain freedom and peace. We help you break the patterns and give you a new North Star that can help you lead yourself with clarity, with trust, with fulfillment, with satisfaction. Anxiety, stress, it exists still, but it's like 20% of what it normally is. That is what we get to do in the Challenger Circle. And the best part is you get everything that's included for free for 30 days. And if you still want to participate, but you don't want to pay, there you can be there for free still. It is an opportunity to help yourself. But again, you are the one who has to choose. You are the one who has to say, I want to change and I'm willing to invest energy to get that change. That is my challenge to you. Invest energy in yourself for the change that you want, because no one else can do it for you. But if this resonated with you, please share with a friend, send me a comment. Engaging is investing. But I will see you next episode. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of The Challenges of Change. If you're ready to stop stressing and reclaim your sense of worth, be sure to visit my website at www.changebychallenge.com. There, you'll find loads of resources, blog posts, and information on how to work with me, Laura, as your personal mindset coach. Remember, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Don't let burnout or any other obstacle hold you back from living your best life. Take the first steps towards positive transformation today. Thank you again for listening. Stay confident, stay inspired, and embrace the challenges of change. Until next time.